Hi.
Hi there, I'm Anna. Thank you for talking to me, for taking the time. I'm always really happy when I get to interview strong female actresses, producers, directors, and I think there's still not enough in the industry. And so Till checks all the boxes here, and that's amazing.
Thank
Keith Beauchamp tried to make this movie for about 22 years. When did you join him on this journey, and what took so long? What stood in the way for so long?
About 11 years ago. Uh, and what took so long was uh, people didn't believe anybody cared or wanted to know about it or was interested in seeing it. And Keith worked his tail off, and he and Barbara Broccoli and Fred Zolo and Michael Riley uh, wanted to get this up and done and said, hey, this is what we're doing. You want to be part of this? And I was like, absolutely. What can I do? And so for about 15 years, we've all been trying to get someone interested in making it. And then, of course, the George Floyd murder happened. And suddenly everyone realized that what was happening really did encompass all of us. This included everyone. And so, because it's an ordinary story. It's an ordinary story. It's an ordinary woman and her son goes down to see his cousins and is murdered because he whistled at a white woman. And that was okay because in the South, Black people's lives meant nothing. So we had all of these horrible things going on, and suddenly this ordinary woman who sent her ordinary son is placed in an extraordinary situation. And when she gets her son's body, makes the decision that she must tell the world what happened, but telling them isn't going to work. She then has him photographed and says, this is what they did. They murdered my son. And they acquitted the men who did it were acquitted. The woman who said, yes, that's the boy that whistled at me, got to raise her two sons. But Mamie Till-Mobley fought for the rest of her life to get justice for her son. And unfortunately, she passed before we got the movie done. But fortunately, Chinua Chukwu, who is the director of this film, directed it in such a way that allows everyone who watches it to recognize themselves in a mother and son relationship here. It's a normal, ordinary day. You see them at home. You see him in his room. He's just a kid. And kids do dumb stuff. And this dumb thing that he did cost him his life. And you want to say to people, listen, this is what hate looks like. This is what it looks like at its worst. Now, as a kid, I learned also through the Diary of Anne Frank, right? About what went through. So we know hate when we see it. We know we should stop it, that we can stop it, but we're not always on top of it. And then time passes. And then here we are again at the same place, hating the same way after we said, we're not going to do this again. So it is a movie whose time, it's better that it's happening now, because as we know all over the world, these kinds of hates are happening. And I feel like if we can get the young people, if we can get the 11 and 12-year-olds to say, oh, that's me. I'm that same age. You mean that could be me? Yes, it could. Unless you and me all work to try to stop this from happening. So that's my hope anyway.
Yes, I hope so too. I hope that the people who need to see it, who usually maybe close their eyes, go and see it.
Yeah.
I just have one tiny criticism of the movie, and that is that you are not in it enough, because you play Alma, the grandmother of the boy, who played a big part in his life because she helped raise him, and yet she and therefore you aren't in the movie much. Why is that?
Two reasons. One, she doesn't appear really in that story much more. And two, I have a day job. So I had to go back and do the work. So I had 3 days that I could do. And really, when you talk to Keith, there isn't a lot more about her. So we say, okay, let's make it, do the best we can. And I was like, great, because this is all I got. So thank you for that, though.
Perfect. What would you tell people who are afraid to go see the movie, especially mothers who say, I can't?
You can, and I'll tell you why you can. Because if you value your child, it will be a labor of love to go and see this movie. There's no violence in it. You're aware that violence has happened. You do not see it on screen. And that's Chinoye's gift to the viewer. You don't need to see it on screen,
All right. Thank you so much for talking to me, and
thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Die Öffentlichkeit schenkt dem Thema gerade Aufmerksamkeit. Das ist eine greifbare Chance.
Glaubst du, wenn du dein Leben riskierst, hilfst du Bo?
Ich muss stark sein. Für mein Kind.
Und was ist mit meinem Kind?
Noch nie hat ein Negro in dieser Gegend gegen einen Weißen gesprochen und es überlebt.
Vor einem Monat hatte ich eine gemütliche Wohnung in Chicago. Ich hatte einen Sohn. Wenn irgendeinem Farbigen im Süden etwas zugestoßen ist, sagte ich mir, was geht mich das an? Und jetzt ist mir klar geworden, wie sehr ich mich geirrt habe. Wenn uns irgendwo auf der Welt etwas Schlimmes widerfährt, dann geht uns das alle an.